It's April 4th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a man who vanished in the woods for decades, a rescue mission that turned into a tragedy, and a machine that briefly replaced the human heart. Let's begin. On April 4th, 1975, the war in Vietnam was collapsing, and time was running out. Under a plan called Operation Babylift, hundreds of orphaned children were flown out of Saigon, sent away from a country they would never see again. The aircraft waiting on the runway was a massive C-5 Galaxy, one of the largest planes ever built. Inside, more than 300 people, children, caregivers, and crew. At first, everything seemed normal. Then minutes after takeoff, something went terribly wrong. A lock on the rear cargo door failed. Without warning, the back of the plane blew open mid-air. The cabin depressurized in an instant. The aircraft shuddered violently as critical systems were torn apart. Pilots fought for control as they tried to turn back. They tried to land, but the plane was no longer whole. As it descended, it came apart in the air and crashing into the marshlands outside of Saigon. When the wreckage settled, the silence that followed was unbearable. Out of the 113 people on board, 138 were gone, 78 of them children. Yet somehow, 175 survived. Investigations would later reveal the failure may have not have been sudden at all. There were warnings, concerns about the door, but the pressure to leave, to save as many people as possible before Saigon fell, pushed the mission forward anyways. Even after the disaster, the flights didn't stop. Operation Babylift became one of the largest emergency child evacuations in history, saving thousands, while still carrying one of the darkest opening chapters. On April 4th, 2013, a silent figure moved through the woods in Maine, just like he had for decades. For 27 years, Christopher Thomas Knight had lived hidden in the forest near North Pond, less than a mile from quiet summer cabins filled with families who never knew he was there. He had walked into the wilderness in 1986 and simply never came back. No explanation, no goodbye, he just vanished. Through brutal winters, when the temperature dropped far below freezing, he survived without even lighting a fire. Smoke meant discovery, and discovery meant end. So instead, he became a ghost. Moving only at night, he broke into nearby cabins again and again, just taking enough to survive. Food, propane, books, clothing. Nearly 1,000 break-ins, and yet no one ever saw him. In all those years, he only spoke a single word to another human being, a quiet, almost accidental hello. And then, on April 4th, it ended. A motion sensor tripped at a camp for people with disabilities. When authorities arrived, they found a man who had forgotten how to live among others. When questioned, Knight gave no grand explanation, no hidden trauma, no dramatic reason. He said he simply preferred silence. After 27 years, for him, stepping back into the world may have been harder than surviving in the wilderness itself. On April 4th, 1969, inside an operating room in Houston, something happened that had never been done before. A human heart was about to be replaced with a machine. The patient was 47-year-old Haskell Karp. His heart was failing, slowly and irreversibly. Without intervention, he would die. So, surgeon Denton A. Cooley made a decision that felt almost unthinkable. He would remove the dying heart and replace it with something artificial. The device wasn't sleek and it wasn't quiet. It was a bulky air-driven machine made out of fabric and plastic, powered by an external console that hissed and pulsed like something barely alive. And yet, when it was connected, it worked. For the first time in history, a human lived without a real heart. For 64 hours, the machine kept him alive. No heartbeat, just the mechanical rhythm. And the waiting game began. Eventually, a donor heart was found, and surgeons rushed to transplant it, replacing the artificial one with something human again. But then, something changed. The body had endured too much. In 32 hours, Haskell Karp was gone. Still, the process had succeeded, and it proved something unsettling, that life could be sustained by something cold and mechanical. Today, the heart can be found in a museum, a reminder of the moment humanity learned how to replace its own heartbeat. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.